You've probably heard this claim before. Ancient humans only lived to 30, maybe 35 if they were lucky. It sounds shocking, and it seems to explain a lot. Why life was so brutal, why people married young, why societies looked so different. But there's a problem. The statement isn't exactly true. In fact, it's deeply misleading, because ancient humans didn't suddenly drop dead at 30. Many lived much longer than that. Some reached 60. Others made it into their 70s. A few even lived longer. So where did the myth come from? The answer lies in a single word: average. And averages can be deceptive. Imagine 10 people are born. 5 die before age 5. The other 5 reach 60. What happens to the average? It crashes dramatically. Even though half the group lived long lives, that's exactly what happened in ancient times. The real mystery isn't why adults died at 30, it's why so many children never became adults. And the answer is more brutal than most people realize. To understand ancient lifespans, you have to start at birth. Today, most babies survive infancy. We take that fact for granted. But for most of human history, survival was never guaranteed. The first few years were incredibly dangerous. A simple infection could be fatal, a fever could become deadly, even diarrhea posed a serious threat because dehydration could kill quickly. And there were no modern treatments, no antibiotics, no vaccines, no pediatric medicine, no emergency care. Parents did everything they could, but many illnesses were unstoppable. Then came another danger: malnutrition. Food supplies weren't always reliable. A poor hunting season could be devastating. A drought could destroy food sources, and children suffered the most. Their bodies needed constant nutrition. Without it, survival became harder. Then there were accidents. The ancient world was full of hazards: sharp tools, open fires, dangerous terrain, and wild animals. The world was far less forgiving than the one we know today. Even gathering water carried risks. A single mistake could be costly. For children, those risks were everywhere, and every danger affected the average lifespan. That's the key detail most people miss. When historians say life expectancy was 30, they don't mean adults died at 30. They mean many people never reached adulthood. The average was pulled downward by countless early deaths. But let's say you survived. You make it through childhood. You avoid serious illness. You reach your teenage years. Now your odds improve dramatically. You're stronger, more resilient, and better adapted to your environment. This is where the myth begins to fall apart. Because many ancient adults lived far beyond 30. Some became grandparents, others became respected elders. Their knowledge was incredibly valuable. They remembered hunting grounds, and survival secrets passed down for generations. But surviving childhood wasn't the end of the story. Adult life came with its own dangers, and some were impossible to avoid. Take injuries, for example. A broken leg could be devastating. A deep cut could become infected, and a hunting accident could be fatal. Remember, there were no hospitals, no surgeons waiting nearby, no antibiotics to fight infection. Even a small wound could turn deadly, because the real enemy was invisible. Bacteria were everywhere, but nobody knew they existed. Then there was disease. Not every illness killed quickly. Some weakened people for years. Parasites were especially common. Many lived inside the human body, stealing nutrients over time, causing fatigue and poor health. And for women, another danger existed: childbirth. Today it's far safer than ever before. But in ancient times, every birth carried serious risk. Complications could appear suddenly, and there were few ways to intervene. Yet despite all these dangers, many adults still lived much longer than people imagine. So how do we know this? How can we estimate ancient ages? The answer comes from archaeology and from the bones people left behind. Scientists study ancient skeletons carefully, looking for clues about age. Teeth provide important evidence. So do joints and bones. Together, they tell a story. And that story is surprising. Many ancient communities included older adults. People in their 50s were not unusual. Neither were people in their 60s. Some individuals lived even longer. These weren't modern retirees. They were survivors. People who had overcome countless dangers: disease, injury, food shortages, and harsh environments. As they aged, they became valuable, not because of physical strength, but because of knowledge. They knew where food could be found, which plants were safe to eat, when animals migrated, and how to survive difficult seasons. In many ways, they were living libraries, which raises an important question. If adults could reach 60 or beyond, why do we live so much longer today? The answer isn't one invention, it's thousands of improvements working together. Clean drinking water, reliable food supplies, better sanitation, safer childbirth, vaccines, antibiotics, and modern medicine. Most importantly, far more children survive. That's the biggest difference of all. In the ancient world, many lives ended before they truly began. Today, most children reach adulthood, and that dramatically raises the average lifespan. So when someone says, ancient humans only lived to 30, you now know the truth. 30 wasn't a biological limit. It wasn't some ancient expiration date. It was a statistical illusion. Created by extremely high child mortality, if you survived the dangerous early years, a much longer life was possible. Not guaranteed, but entirely achievable. And that's the real story behind the myth.